If you've been following along, you know that I am trying to outbreed Mother Nature. The coyotes and the hawks usually decimate my flocks. So here we are. It is December, and I think I have about 20 chickens. So I hatched, let's see if I can get up here on these guys. That little guy right there. So there's 2 of him left, 2 little guys. This one and that one right there. The brown one actually is a full-grown chicken. She loves to sit on eggs. Anyway, I hatched about 20 of them back in September, and only 2 of them are left. So these guys get picked off a lot. I'm gonna call out the roosters. So half of these guys are roosters. I gotta get rid of them, and then I'll hatch some more eggs. But it is really hard to have free-range chickens, which you can see right here. I'm feeding them, so I have some scratch that I feed them. I ferment it. I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so I do free range the chickens and they get eaten a lot by predators, but I also give them some extra food. So what this is an organic blend from one, is it Cherokee feed and seed? It's one of the feed and seeds, maybe Clayton feed and seed. And scratch is different than pellets. Pellet just means they press it down into a pellet. Scratch is just the normal stuff they can eat, so it's more in its natural form. What I do is put it in these buckets, fill it full of water to let it ferment, and then I just pour it out in a line and they come out here and eat it. I don't do this all the time. I usually maybe every other day or every 3 days pour out a bucket. One is just to make sure they're eating stuff so we're getting eggs, which we are getting more eggs now that I'm using this. And the other is to help them remember that this is home. If you're looking to get into chickens, it does not have to be as complicated as I have made it. You literally can just get a coop like this guy right here. This is about 6 feet or maybe 7 feet tall by 8 by 4. And you don't have to put an auto door in it. You can just leave them in there. If you have 2 chickens in here, they could probably live pretty happy for a long time. Lots of space, and you could probably even deep mulch it at that point when there's only 2 of them in there. Deep mulching simply means I'm never taking it out. I'm just letting nature do its thing. And I don't do that. I have the door open so they can go out and free range all over the place here. Problem is the coyotes and the hawks get them. So if you keep them closed, that's great. They will stay alive. The bad part is you open up yourself to the other things that happen, like mites on their legs. If you look at the chicken legs, if they're got core on it, then that is a mite on them. The other thing you can do if you're looking at getting into chickens, in addition to keeping them into a coop and just keeping low numbers, so if you have 2 hens, they will lay you an egg a day, probably an egg and a half a day. And they go for about 2 years. If you don't do anything with the light, then if you put light on them, you can encourage them to lay more, but they'll also stop producing faster. So it really depends on how many eggs you think you need. If you just want to try this out, then here are some things I would recommend to do in the coop. Okay, so you're getting into chickens and you're thinking, what should I do coop-wise? I would say get a coop that's bigger than you think you need by a lot. That way they have a lot more space. The other thing I would do is, you can see right here, I've come back and put the coop on bricks. If you can get the wood off the ground, then it's going to last a whole lot longer. I left it on the ground for too long and sort of rotted. You can also see I tried these little bits right here were electric wire insulator holders. That didn't work. Just get it off the ground and put a better mesh on it. So this is a mesh you can buy from Home Depot. You just simply cut it out to shape and then staple it on. You don't need an auto door. You just really need to get this guy off the ground. Make sure it has a place for them to go to lay eggs and the places to roost. If you really want to get fancy with your chickens, we took our old garden area, because I hate gardening, and we turned it into a chicken compound. So there's a net, I think you could see it. I put a net over the top of it and tried to enclose over the edges because the hawks would just fly right through. But this gives them a pretty big place to kind of come out and hang out. We tried out these omelet coops. I'm not a huge fan. They're too small. And I think, I don't know, if you put 1 chicken in there, maybe it's okay, but they're gonna poop in there a lot and you're gonna have to change out a lot of the mulch and stuff. So I would go with the bigger coop. Now, on the coop that I made over here, I did put walls on it to give it a little bit more protection, and I painted it because that's gonna make it last longer as well. When it comes time to harvest roosters, because they don't lay eggs and you need to get rid of them over time, I have found the easiest thing to do is come over here at night while they're up here sitting on the bars, you just grab the rooster you want. That guy right there. So take the genetics out of the pool, the ones you don't want anymore. And I have a dog crate that I put him in. So at night I'll come and I'll put him in this dog crate. And in the morning I can grab the 2 that I put in there out and harvest them. I don't use any special tools or implements. I can do it. So basically, if you want to process a rooster, and you have to, well, if you want to keep the skin on it, you need to pull the feathers off. So if you're going to pull feathers, it takes about 30 minutes for me to do the whole rooster. If I just pull the skin off and leave the feathers on the skin so the skin goes away, then it takes about 20 minutes.